Streaming YouTube. Start recording locally. Now let's turn you off. Okay, I see YouTube is getting my signal. We are now live on YouTube.
Can you hear us now, Earl?
Is Earl there yet? He's there, but he's not there.
I don't see him muted.
He's there, but
He can't hear us, I don't think. Maybe it's us. I think he's having trouble hearing us. That's my guess.
Perhaps.
Question for you, Dave.
Oh, I just got a, yes. Oh, there he is. Earl, hi.
Hi.
What's up?
Anytone D578, do you have one of those?
Yes, I do. It's nearby. Here it is.
Oh, that's the 878.
Oh, that's the 878. Oh, you've got the one single band version.
Tri-band.
Oh, you got the tri-band version. Cool.
That's the question I wanted to ask you.
It's probably very similar, but yeah. I mean, as far as how it programs.
Okay, they have the, I think it's the shift on 2 meters is 0.600.
Right.
And on 70 centimeters it's 5.00. And on
I'm working on something else. They're here.
220 should
Yeah,
be
there they are.
1.6.
yeah, that's the problem. The radio doesn't recognize that.
Okay, now there are. I found it before. There for my radio. I'm sure there's one for yours too. There's actually a change you make to the programming of the radio to tell it what area that you're in North America. Did you buy it directly from Broadcom or did you get it from?
Yeah, I got it from Bridgecom.
Bridgecom, because I think mine was set wrong from them. I'm trying to remember what it was set for. I think it was set for Europe.
Well, the thing I'm seeing, it looks like it was a dual band, and after thought they wanted to make a tri-band, because it only has 5 watts output.
Well, that's pretty typical for an HT.
Well,
this
that's pretty
is-
good for an HD.
Oh, it's a four. You've got
Yeah,
it's a mobile radio.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. All right, I did know that. I've seen it before, but I get all the numbers mixed up.
Oh, you mean you have the little mobile?
It's the mobile one, yeah.
Ah.
Well, I don't know. 5 watts is pretty typical for 220. My old 220 radio was 35 watts, or maybe 25 watts actually. I think it was 25 on 220, 35 on UHF, and 50 on VHF. And that's just the way it was built. And that was my Kenwood from like the 90s.
yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't surprise me though somehow that it's only 5 watts on 220. But 220 does really well. You can do 5 watts. I've only got 5 watts here, and it works great.
You're in the valley though.
Yeah, well, my antenna sucks. That's why it's. 220 is the only band that's good on that antenna. Every other band on that antenna, there's supposed to be a 3-band antenna, but even 2 meters is terrible. And it's a good antenna too. It's one of those. It's probably because I don't have a good enough counterpoise, to be honest. I should probably just try working on that.
I had my linear for 220. I just got it.
Oh, there you go.
Well, there you go. You fixed that problem.
It
Do you have separate outputs on your radio? No.
well, the thing about this is you plug the microphone into the linear,
Uh-huh.
plug the linear into the radio, and the linear controls the radio.
Oh, okay. Does it automatically switch bands, though?
This is just strictly for 220.
Right. That's
Rather
good.
linear for 2 meters and 70 centimeters. That's 35 and 45 watts
Right, okay.
for the HT.
Right. Okay. Well, that's not bad. It's cool. Let's make sure that antenna's up over your head.
Yeah, they're outside.
That's good. It's the important thing. More about vertical than anything else. What I was reading about these people complaining about RFI or RF coming into their house when they've got a a big tree of cell towers, like right there next door, and they're all worried and they're all paranoid that they're going to get radiation from this. The truth is, you've got to be like a half a mile away to get the maximum amount of radiation from the thing because it's so far up. It's up above you, and the radiation is all coming out in one direction, and it's not up and down. It's designed to come out from the sides. So
and that's a very narrow band also.
Exactly. The higher frequencies, the more narrow the beam is going to be.
I know a guy that used to work on those and align the towers and shoot the beams, and they have a very small window.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the ones especially the dishes they use to connect from tower to tower, they're like microwave dishes. They're very, very, very narrow. They're like 10 gigahertz or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you do, Ed?
Very cool.
Doing good. How are you guys?
Hey, how's it going, Ed?
I'm still kicking.
Well, that's all that counts.
You get
Look over
elected?
your head, you're doing real
At
good.
least in soccer it does.
I say if you can kick over your head, you're doing real good.
Yeah. It's been a few days since I could do that.
Me too.
Depends if I'm laying down or not. You put that one.
I've never been able to do that.
I only get in fights with short guys.
Yeah. Hey, Earl, that linear. So what do you do? Reconnect the coax and that when you want to do 220, or?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. You can only use it for 220 when you have it connected.
On my Kentwood 74, you come right off the SMA connector on the radio.
Okay.
You go to the SMA connector on the linear, and then you hook the output of the linear to an antenna outside. Plug the microphone in, and the linear actually operates the radio.
Okay, but what if you want to use a different band? Does it have a bypass option or something?
No, this is strict. If I want to use 2 meters or 70 centimeters,
Yeah.
use this linear.
You can't use it, right?
Yeah, it's strictly for,
So you have to disconnect it. That's what we're asking.
correct.
Yeah, okay.
I just wondered if you use duplexers and triplexers.
I had, it's probably not too far away.
What I use for 220 is my Elenco. That's 25 watts.
Well, you always have a good signal on 220,
Thank you.
by the way.
Yes, you do.
Well, the antenna is a homemade J-pole.
It works. So whatever you did, don't touch it.
Yeah, I found that out the hard way. I tried to make a tri-band J-pole, and it says, yeah, I'll work on 2 meters. I'm not interested in the other 2 bands.
Yeah, I have that Comet CF333, and it seems to work pretty good.
The same one I have.
Yeah, I like that antenna. So far, it's been great.
Yeah.
Is that a 240, 220, or I mean, 2 meter 440 dual band? Or, yeah.
Tri-band.
Yeah,
Or is it
what I
tri-band?
do is I have 2 radios, and I run the antenna into a triplexer to split the 220 out.
That's
And
valid.
then I take the other 2 leads and put them back into a duplexer, and then run that up to my other radio, my two meters.
Wow. Oh, okay. Okay. Wow.
So it looks like a can of worms.
You're doing dual duplexing.
Yeah, kind of. Hey, it works great so
Hey,
far.
we did that turning the duplexer around thing for Baker to Vegas because we had 2 different radios and 1 antenna. And actually, we had 3 different radios and 1 antenna. So we actually, I think we had a tri-bander. Oh no, I think it was 1 antenna for 220 and 440, and a separate antenna for 220. I mean, 2 meters and 440 was 1 antenna, and 220 was a second antenna. But we did the invert the duplexer, so the one antenna would work on 2 different radios, and we were able to operate at the same time. which is
Wow.
a fantastic deal.
On my '05 truck, I put a Nagoya tri-band ground plane antenna on it. I can get out 150 miles on that sucker. Of
That's
course,
cool.
people look at you strange.
Yeah, you don't. Do you drive around with it up? It's a little high.
Well, I've driven around the freeway and it stays intact.
I always wanted to put a 102-inch whip right on top of my car.
You gonna do citizen band?
That's kind of like, yeah, do system band on me. Just something when I was a kid I always wanted to do. I wanted a Volkswagen or something with a whip right in the middle. I didn't really understand that a true amateur radio operator would have a porcupine of antennas on their car, and two would not be enough. I actually, when I first got into ham radio, I had an '88 Mustang, and had at one point I had 3 antennas on there, so I was as close to a porcupine as I could get, one for each band.
The guy out here in Val Vista, he had a CJ5. He had 19 antennas on that Jeep and driving as slow as he could. He had 4 Yagis. I think he had 4 or 5 verticals, a couple of loops. He had them on the front, the back, the side.
Wow.
Obviously, he doesn't take it off-road.
No,
How many
definitely.
antennas does Father Ron have?
Oh, he has like 3 or 4 on the back of his car. Yeah.
You get about 3 or 4.
I don't know what they all are. I know he used to
Oh,
do.
I think Joe has 2.
I know he used to do 220, 2 meter, 220 and 440 because he had the same radio I had. Steve had
I
the same
was,
radio I had, only a little bit older, one version older.
In fact, I was
Still
walking
does.
out of Walmart yesterday, and there was a car parked, a little like a crossbreed kind of, cross trek or whatever you want to call it. And he had 2. It looked like matching 2.
Collinear.
Yeah.
That's what they used to call it.
The same, exact same antennas, about 2 foot apart.
2 foot apart. That's pretty close together. I remember they used to do that for Citizen Band. They had the collinear antennas. They had to be exactly the right distance apart. And truckers, you still see them with those setups.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you put them on the mirror bracket or whatever, the rear view mirrors.
Well, that's because when they turn, it
Yeah.
blocked one antenna,
Oh, okay,
so
right.
so they wouldn't lose the signal.
Yeah, it works that way if you set it up right.
There's a guy up north, he gets on one of the bands, and he says, oh, I got twin whips on my antenna, I'm broadcasting 1,500 watts in a fiberglass Kenworth, and I'm thinking, I bet you glow at night.
Jeez. Fiberglass is hard because it's and a lot of people with mobile homes try to put an antenna on top of their house, and it's not, the top of the home is not made of metal.
No, you need to put a ground plane underneath.
Exactly. You got to have at least a ground plane because otherwise it's just not going to work well, and you'll probably irradiate yourself and everybody near you.
You have the, Dave, you
How
have
did
the
you
dual,
run?
I'm sorry.
you have the dual band hotspot.
Yeah, I built my own basically, but I have a dual channel, what do they call that? Two, it does both time spaces, time slices, slices. It does dual slice, so I can have 2 programs happening at once, and there are 2 different talk groups happening at the same time. And the way you can tell those types of radios are the ones with 2 antenna. So if they look like they have 2 antennas, then you know that that's what it is, because it's transmitting on one and receiving on the other. And that way you can actually talk while you're listening on one. Though it transmits while you're, it can receive at the same time, basically.
What happened?
So that makes it work better. Hi, Tina.
Hi there. How are you guys?
Yeah, good. How are you? You got a new
Okay,
camera.
I'm sitting here for you guys to get going.
You got a new camera. It's not time yet. Tina got a new camera. She called me the other day.
I didn't. I returned it
Oh, it was no good?
because there was no light, so you would not know when it was on.
Oh, wow.
Otherwise, it would have been good.
You didn't
So
like
that's
that.
my old one.
I can understand that's a little creepy. Mine has a light,
What kind do you have?
a Logitech.
Which one?
I bought it about 5 years ago.
Oh well, that's old.
But I think it's still around, to be honest. It's their USB camera that does HD.
Yeah, mine is a well-known brand called Web Camera.
Web camera?
Web Camera.
Oh, okay. Sounds pretty generic.
It's a national brand.
Does yours have a light on it? So you know
No,
when
it
you're
does
on the
not.
air. See, maybe it's the same one Tina returned.
Could be. Well, I got this on Amazon for something.
What was yours called, Tina? It was something very generic like that.
It was Alarak.
Alarak? Alarak. Amazing name brands.
Hey, Sam.
Sam's here.
Oh.
And Steve's here. We were talking about Steve earlier. Steve, you're muted. Oh, Steve disappeared and Randy took his spot. Okay, I don't know what happened to Steve.
I don't know. He was there.
Oh, he's coming back. I see him coming back here. All
He
right.
pressed the wrong button.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It was like it just flipped out.
Ron's muted and
Ron's
Steve's
muted.
muted.
Yep.
No, I'm still here.
Everybody got reorganized there. I'm
Hello, everybody.
Oh, there's
Now there's
two.
two of you, Steve.
Two of Steve.
Two, Steve, yeah.
You're in stereo.
do
He's
this.
got twins.
Oh, boy.
Good morning. Good morning. Good evening, Sam.
There.
Good evening to you, sir.
Became headphoned. All right. Let's see. What time? Okay.
What in the world is Steve looking up at?
What Steve's using his iPad to join the meeting.
Yeah, I'm using it. Oops.
He's got a feedback problem.
Probably from the other one he's got on.
Yes, he's got two things going at once. Steve, you got two things going at once. He hears. Do you want me to kick you off on one? It'll probably kick them both on both of them if I do that. Oh, now he's on the other one. You just
They're
switch.
both iPads.
Now he's on two.
He's got two things going.
I'm confused.
It is confusing. I could probably do that if I had an extra camera.
What do you think, Steve, is if you're confused?
Steve, you're muted now. Oh, there you go.
The old, I was using an old iPad. I mean, the thing is going on 10 years old,
Wow.
and it doesn't have the night shift thing. So it just sees the lighting in the dining room here as very warm. And the new one has a night shift, and I've turned that off, so it's not quite as yellowish. It's more true tone. You've seen the color of the walls.
Yeah, what color are your walls?
They're a kind of a
Yeah, well,
Tuscan yellow.
yeah, that's kind of what I
Yeah.
thought. Now we're looking
I'm
at.
gonna change machines here. There we go.
Okay. Well, you're only on once now.
Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah, there you go.
Nobody needs to see any more than that. Had enough one time.
At least
Yeah.
we won't hear cars going by, which what we'll
You
often
might
hear
hear
outside.
you might hear the cuckoo clock.
Uh-oh. I guess we can live with that. We have Sam's alarm might go off too.
That's
Yeah.
true.
That's the rooster clock.
Yeah. Anyway, we do have a flag.
All right.
Yeah, it's one of those break it and it lights up type of things. So I'll go ahead and break it in about 5 minutes.
Good idea. I have an ignore me sign. That's what you write on a piece of paper if you want somebody to read it.
Yes.
At least that's what the people that did this thought.
Reverse psychology.
Don't,
at
yeah,
its best.
exactly. Tina's still here? Okay, good. So you found a way to mount your camera, Tina? Looks pretty good.
Just standing there if I don't touch it,
Yeah, cool.
It's working.
It is.
it's working.
Don't do that. It's not allowed. Not allowed. Not allowed. Mute yourself. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right, I'm prepared. We still got 10 minutes to go.
Hey, Dave,
Yes.
you're a little out of focus.
Is it? Really? Okay.
Yeah, your virtual background is in focus, but you are not.
It's probably just more about, it might be, I may have set the manual, I may have set this camera for me.
You just vaporized yourself.
I know,
you
I'm doing as I'm cleaning the lens.
Beamed up.
I cleaned
Yeah,
the
we're-
lens.
Where
I cleaned
are we are we on the bridge of the Starship Enterprise?
Yes, we're on the
Yeah, the Klingons just evaporated him.
the Captain Picard version of the Starship Enterprise, I believe.
Oh, and don't forget the Romnians. The
Oh.
Romnians might have done it too.
Yes, it's possible. It could be the Romulans.
Yeah.
And I think I fixed it because I just basically wiped the muck off the camera lens.
Yeah,
I showed you the picture of the Borg on my desk, right, Dave?
I think I did see that. Yes, that's
Yeah.
right. I remember that now. Absolutely.
Ed,
Scary pictures.
Ed? You still doing C4 FM and Wires X?
Yeah. Got it right now. 1570.
I listen to Palomar, LA, and San Diego, and Moreno Valley is the ones I like.
Good. What about the Hemet one?
Log jam at times.
People keep switching around.
I hardly hear anything on them.
Yeah, LA and San Diego seem to
Yeah, I can't reach those, but
Okay.
get them on my HT mobile, but they're talking in Puerto Rican. I don't understand what they're saying. Not even their
it's kind of hard. Yeah.
That and the Philippine language is hard.
Earl, how would you know?
How do you know it's Puerto Rican?
I worked with some Puerto Ricans there.
Oh,
that-
okay.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I've been thinking about joining one of these closed C4 FM networks.
Can
It's
you
like
get
$10
Moreno
a
Valley?
month.
Can you get Moreno Valley?
Yeah, there's one in Box Springs, Corona, Covina. They've got like 7 repeaters in a network.
Russell Williams. Who's Russell Williams?
Hey, can anybody hear me?
Yes.
No. Boy, there's
No.
but you got feedback like crazy, Flip.
Well, now wait a second. You're telling me somebody else hears that?
No,
I thought it was my imagination the whole time.
Okay. Hey, I got a small tale for all you guys. Anybody thinks that golf is safe? I played golf on Tuesday, and I was facing the green, and the guys I was playing with were behind me at the 4 o'clock position, both facing the green. So I got out of my cart, went to grab a club out of my bag, and I turned around to see how he was doing because he was going to shoot next. He shot one, and it was probably 100 plus miles an hour. And this is what it did.
Oh my God.
Ah,
It took a direct hit right here, and then the blood started going down into my arm and came out. So now it
What do
looks
they call
good
it?
today. It looks good today. You should have seen it a couple days ago.
you got a hemorrhage.
wow.
Yeah. What do they call that? A hemorrhage.
Yeah, it just bleeds and then it goes someplace and the body absorbs it later. Broke some capillaries, whatever. But golf is dangerous. That's my point.
No, what was wrong with the guy behind you? Why did he do that?
Well, because it was the first hole on number 10 here at Sun Lakes, and everybody's stiff and you're not limber. So he was supposed to shoot a straight shot parallel to the green, right? Well, he shanked one.
Wow.
It was like a bullet, and I'm not exaggerating. I've never been hit that hard with anything so hard and penetrating.
Can't imagine.
If that would have hit a bone, it would have cracked.
Oh yeah. Boy.
It could be dangerous.
Would it have
Hit your head.
would it have done anything if it hit your head?
Well, it probably would have knocked some sense into me.
Well, I want you to know, Flip, the one and only time I went golfing, I almost killed a duck.
Is that right? Gee, Randy won, duck nothing. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Hey, Cliff,
Yeah.
if it's any consolation to you, I was up in Santa Barbara area years and years ago.
Yeah.
I got nailed by a ball, and I had to go to the ER.
Did you really? Where did it hit you?
Crazy thing is, it hit me in my wrist,
Yeah.
and there was a thought of it might have been broken.
Yeah. You know what? The speed of the ball at 30 feet, okay, and if it hits something hard, it's like taking a rock and busting it. I mean, it's really nasty stuff.
It's hard. Yeah.
Hey, who is Craig Roberts?
Good question.
We're wondering that ourselves.
What is that a picture of?
That looks like an orchid or
Yeah.
some kind of a flower.
It's definitely an orchid.
I
Yeah.
think it's an out of space alien.
Looks like Oop.
Craig is a caregiver for a lady from our old church, and he used to, and I think he's still working for her. And he right behind Mike's church is the pink house back there, Mike.
Oh, great. Great. We're glad to have him with us.
Howdy, Greg.
How are you doing? He looks like he's muted.
Yeah. Craig, can you hear us?
Let me see. Whoops, I'm sorry. I just muted you as you unmuted. There we go. Should work now. Hello,
Good
Craig.
evening, Greg.
Hello.
Oh, there we are. We can hear you.
Yeah,
Okay.
my phone has too many buttons. Hey, Bill, you look like you're hiding in the dark.
I'm driving in my Jeep.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
By
Bill
the way,
is-
by the way, guys, Craig Roberts is a member, KN6 DMW technician.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's a member.
He's checked in once or twice. Is that right, Craig? Have you checked in before?
Yeah.
On the nets? Okay. That's why it sounds familiar.
Oh, not on the net.
No.
I don't have my antenna up.
Okay. Maybe you came to a meeting then before.
Yes, I did
Okay.
come to meetings.
Okay. Excellent. I knew the call sign sounded familiar, but I don't think I've ever met you before. I don't remember anyway.
Okay.
Welcome. So great. Glad to have you with us. We're going to
Thank
start.
you.
We're going to start here in a couple minutes. We got Bill, who's actually mobile and driving. I might mute you guys if I hear noises coming from your background noise or something. I might mute you guys. You should be able to unmute yourself. So if you see that you're muted and you want to say something, you can wave your hand and I'll do it if you can't. You should be able to unmute yourself. But
Hey guys, this afternoon about, I don't know, 3:30 or 4 o'clock, 20 meters was wide open to Oceana. And I talked to a guy in Japan like he was across the street on sideband, And I mean, I couldn't believe he was as loud as he was. It's unbelievable. But 20 was wide open from about 3 to 4:30 this afternoon.
Wow.
Maybe 4 to 5. Unbelievable.
Huh. I thought about tuning up for 20 meters, but I didn't do it this afternoon. I've actually got my printer doing a 3D print right now.
What are you making?
I'm making a case for one of these Pi Star things.
Oh, cool. Cool.
I changed it around because I decided I can't really find the one I'm looking for.
Maybe you could make some golf balls, Dave.
Maybe you should start playing with wiffle balls.
Yeah, that's right, with holes in them. Yeah, of course.
I haven't made any golf balls. That would be yeah, rather difficult. If I get the inner side, the inside, I think isn't the center like rubber or something? At least it used to be.
There can be up to 4 different layers of this stuff depending on how much you want to spend for a golf ball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's been like 40, 50, 60 years since I've destroyed a golf ball.
Didn't they have like a rubber band?
No, they don't even do that. They have like a high compression ball on the inside, and they have 2 or 3 more layers to give it more bendability and all this happy crap, and it's all marketing, okay? But bottom line is golf balls are high technology right now.
I have a jar of avocado seeds that are soaking in oil, and I'm going to take them up to the cemetery and drive them off into one of the canyons up there. And they actually, the cemetery workers have sort of a driving range there at the very top. They take their breaks. And some of them, one of the fellows there, Sumi, who's from Samoa, he has become a doggone near a scratch golfer.
Really? Wow.
Learning his practice up there.
Well, that's one way to plant seeds.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, it's 7 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get this thing started. And I'm going to see. We've got how many people on here? 15 people. Excellent.
Actually, 18. No. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I see 15.
15. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's not too bad. So yes, I think last month we had 17. It looks like. Well, we might pick up a couple yet, so you never know.
POG's on his way in. We'll be up to.
There's POG. There's post office guy. He just showed up. Looks like we're almost connected to his audio. He must be using Bluetooth. And let's see. I'm club president. I'm Dave, KD6ZJZ. Our newly confirmed vice president, and on my screen is right below me. That's Ed, W6EJM, below Ed. And want to recognize the treasurer. Is he here? Yes, he is, of course. Mike. On my screen is on the lower left. That's KK6BUW. And our secretary, Jeff Burris. Let me recognize Jeff. He's up in the upper right-hand corner of my screen. And director at large, DJ, who is right there. Okay, cool. Everybody's here. All the board members are present. And let's go ahead and let's do the. We don't have George here, do we?
We got one.
Oh, there's George. Okay, we're gonna George. You're gonna be George today, Steve.
Okay.
You're gonna lead us.
George, anyway.
I don't know.
Well, I'll put the flag in front of my face. That way, you don't have to look at it.
Okay, that's fine. You don't have to. We don't have to see you. We just have to hear you. Okay, so you're gonna lead us somehow. You're gonna lead us. Okay.
All together now. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think you were trying to screw me up there. Okay. Excellent. Thank you. That was
welcome.
Awful as usual.
That was quite a patriotic display, Steve.
Yes, it was. We definitely needed the flag because last time we had a hard time finding one. I think you had to look at your outdoor flag, if I remember right. Okay, so I am, like I mentioned before, I'm President Dave. We're going to do introductions. And this is really hard because we're not in a room where we could say start here and then go there, down the line. So I have to actually call you guys out to introduce yourselves. And I'm going to do that probably the least effective way because Zoom just loves to shuffle people around at random. I'm going to do it in the way that Zoom's showing you guys on my screen. So Tina is the very first person on my screen. Who's feeding back? Okay, that's really bad.
Sound like you're coming from the Delta Quadrant.
Yeah.
Dave,
I think it might be John.
Yeah, I think it's John.
Yeah, I think it was John. I think I fixed it. Okay. Tina, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Tina, WA6, WFV.
Thank you, Tina. I'm Dave. We've already introduced. Randy is next in my screen. Randy.
Hello, everybody. I'm Randy, K6RJ8.
Thank you, Randy. How about Jeff? You're KB6CA. You're next.
Hi, I'm Jeff from Kilo Bravo 6 Charlie Alpha, Secretary.
You're excellent. Thank you, Jeff. And then Earl and Edie are the next people on my screen. Say hi. Okay.
Edie, KN6CMT.
Excellent. Okay.
And Kilo Mike 6 Sierra Papa Yankee Earl.
Thank you, Earl. And then now I go over to the left side again, and it's Ed, W6EJM, our new vice president. Hello, Ed.
Hey, Ed, W6EJM, downtown Banning.
Ed was president of the club some 3 years ago, something like that. I'm estimating. Ron, you're next.
Okay, Ron, KG6SOI, Northwest Banning.
Thank you, Ron. Sam was president of the club more recently, and now everybody just shifted on me, but I think I'm okay. Okay, Sam, you're next.
Sam, KS6NME, otherwise known as
LD3 is in. He was the last lame duck. And we're naming them very, very awkwardly. Steve's iPad is next, so go ahead and introduce yourself, Steve.
Hi, this is Steve, NJ6LN, and I'm still learning my new call sign. At least I've got loose nickels at the end.
Well, somebody could say it wrong and it still sounds right. So you got that going for you. Mike Cartman, you're next.
Okay, Mike Cartman, WA6UIJ, and I'm in South Banning and Sun Lakes.
That's right. That's where I am too, by the way. And Flip, who's also in Sun Lakes. Go next.
Hey, everybody. Flip here, K6WM, the happy DX hunter, also in Sun Lakes, and just sitting here hunting up DX every day. But back to you, Dave.
No problem. Cool. And DJ, you're next person on my screen.
I'm DJ, KJ6US, here in Banning.
DJ's going to have our program tonight, later on. Mike, KK6BUW, Mr. Club Treasurer, I can speak.
I'm Mike, KK6BUW, from Four Seasons in South Beaumont.
And Four Seasons, by the way, is directly across the city separation street called Highland Springs. So if you're at one side of Highland Springs, you're in Beaumont, the other side you're in Banning, and we're basically directly across the street from each other. It's hilarious. So next would be Craig Roberts, who appears to have disappeared on us, or maybe his camera's just not pointing the right way. Let me see if I can route. Craig, are you there?
He's muted.
I'm trying to unmute him, but it's not letting me. So I guess we'll skip Craig. Bill Seymour, you're next.
Hi, everybody. Bill Seymour, WA6MOD Mobile 6 tonight, and I'm on the road from Palm Springs to home. In fact, I just pulled into my garage, so actually I'm home, and I'll transition to my desktop computer when I get inside. And my role in the club is I am the net control wrangler.
That he is. It's an important job. An unpaid position, just like all of them. And KF6POG, John, you're our last in line.
Always at the back of the bus. AF6 POG, John, northeast, northwest Banning. And I should have 2 extra badges because I was Lame Duck VP for
That's right.
Lame Duck 1 and also Lame Duck 3.
There you go. Dual lame duck VPs. And I don't think I missed anybody, but just in case, did I miss anybody? I know at one point I saw Zoom kind of rearrange my squares. So I just want to make sure. Okay. So everybody's been introduced. And if we have people pop in or if Craig shows up, and we'll ask him to introduce himself maybe if we have time. And tonight, let's see, for last month, it seems like it was yesterday that we had our last meeting because it was a week late. It was nobody's fault but politics. And so we we have, I don't know if everybody saw it, but Jeff was kind enough to write up the October 2020 minutes, and he sent them out to everybody. So I'd like to know if we can have a motion to carry those minutes. Okay, I see Randy made a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
I see Steve seconds the motion. Thank you, Steve.
Or Mike.
Or Mike, or both you guys. Okay. So we got that taken care of. Am I getting better at this? I hope so.
Got a vote. We got a vote.
We got to vote. We got to vote for what?
All in favor?
Oh, I'm sorry. I do it all. I'm terrible at these Roberts things. All in favor of accepting the minutes from last month? Anybody? Anybody opposed? All right, we're there. I got to write that down because I'll just forget. Thank you, Jeff. Again. So the treasurer's report, Mike, the man that keeps the money. Tell us what our balance is to the penny, please.
We have $5,605.90.
Wow, we lost money. It went down like a few bucks, $20 or something. $20.90, I think. Okay. Thank you, Mike. Is there anything else you have for us as treasurer?
As treasurer, no, but Aries, Sam, and I participated in a drill with the Red Cross trying to send windmake messages. We found out we needed some more help to figure out if we actually got the messages through or not. We're trying to do them on Telnet.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I may call on you again when we get to Aries, but if you got more, maybe you'll have more anyway. We're almost there. So Bill is coming back to his desk. Are you there, Bill?
Yeah, I'm still not in the house yet.
I'll wait for you. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll skip you and we'll come back to you later.
Go ahead.
So we already have Aries. Is that all you got, Mike, for Aries? Do you have anything else? Mike, no, he left us.
Mike disappeared.
Mike just disappeared. Okay.
Got VE testing, but Pete's not here.
Yes, that's true. We do have that as well. And did I miss that somehow? I did. Look at that. I don't know what's wrong with my eyeballs.
That's
Mike.
That's why I'm secretary.
Thank you. Thank you for catching that. Pete, are you there? Hello, Pete. KJ6NRR. This is Dave. KD6ZJZ. Are you there? Pete's not here. Okay. We didn't have any testing last month. We did have testing the month before, and we had 3 students, and they all passed. And that's kind of old information from last month's meeting. But I don't really think there's anything else going on. I'll ask Pete if he comes in. Bill, are you there yet?
Greg is.
Greg. Hello, Greg.
Oh, Craig.
Craig.
Yeah.
Sorry. I do that all the time. I apologize. Craig is here, and he's muted. But let's see. I guess I'm pretty much done. We've got Races. Steve, NJ6LN. I'll never get used to that.
Yeah, I'm here.
Tell us about Races.
Races needs members.
Okay.
Yeah, that's enough. Michael will attest to that, and so will Sam.
They want people to actually participate in doing their thing.
And we the interesting thing is that we have not had any call outs by the county for red flag or anything of the sort. And I think I mentioned before, the only red flags that patrol vehicles I've seen are those the contractors for Edison and Edison when they're putting in the west of Devers project north of town here. That's it.
Okay.
Otherwise, we have not been called out.
Right. I do get an email or every once in a while from them regarding, I guess, things that are happening that, like, they still have some training going on. Is that true or not?
Well, there's training. There's training webinars that are out there,
Okay.
and that
Yeah,
the
that's
county
right.
puts on. They're kind of run by a sort of a Zoom
Right.
thing.
And you also have Zoom meetings for on a regular basis, I guess.
Well, we do have the Zoom meetings for the quarterly meetings.
Okay.
Yeah, and they are sleep inducing.
Okay. Flip's got his finger in the air. What's up, Flip?
Yeah, Steve, I was going to ask you, is the activity down because the perception is that they just don't want to participate anymore outside, or do you think it's because of lack of participation on our side and keeping our face in their face, if you will?
I'm not sure. I know that I've been derelict in not planning more drills, and we do need more drills. It's interesting. There's a I got an email from Bill Baird, who's a ham over in Yucaipa, and he sent a link about the last 40 years of ham radio, and emergency communications are becoming less and less important because of increased reliability and increased capabilities in the government and civil, in civil communications, commercial. So, but it still doesn't take into account the fact that if we were ever to have an 1859 hit from the sun, we'd be in really deep doo-doo. They were bad enough back then. I mean, just telegraph wires acted like antennas. Things started fires. The present day, we'd have far more than that. It would be disastrous. And the only thing, I mean, we'd be lucky if our own rigs even worked. That we probably, those with tube type, they're okay. But the rest of us with solid state, we got a problem.
So it'd be pretty much like the same thing that would happen with a neutron bomb.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay. And that's just a wonderful thing to think about. Oh.
Isn't it nice? Yes.
Well, at least we get away, we start talking to each other more and less watching TV, I guess. That might be a good thing. Watching TV. That's kind of old-fashioned. Less people on the computer, let's just say that.
Sam's got a question.
Sam, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Due to the virus, the hospital net does not operate. I get weekly or monthly information that we will not have one.
Right. So they just don't want anybody hanging out in the hospital for obvious reasons.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I don't want to go there either unless I have to.
So, but anyway, that's a feeling. So all of the meetings that we normally have been canceled. Like we can tell with this one.
We're still able to use their facility for our club VE sessions because they have an outdoor, like they have a separate mobile home. I want to say that's not what it is. Manufactured trailer type thing, outdoor areas, and they have several of them, like double wides, that are made into like classrooms, and we use one of those. And actually, I think they have some of their administration running in those buildings still. But in any case, so we just still use their facility, but just for our VE testing.
Mike's got a question.
Yes, Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, Sam, do you by chance know what the capacity situation is at Sanji? As far as, are they over capacity, under capacity?
On the stuff I'm getting, I haven't seen anything for Sanji one way or another, so I assume they're pretty close. It's easy enough for me to find out.
Okay, just curious to know how they're being impacted as far as COVID.
Well, until it started going this way, I was looking to go back into there and work with him on that and see, see how things are going. But seeing how's this going the other way now, I'll stay home.
Okay.
We still have good access, Mike and I do, Mendoza, at the alternate EOC.
Yeah.
Of course, the equipment is ours and Mike's for that. And the 2 battalion chiefs have no problem with us coming and going as we please.
Yeah, I guess the biggest downside of not being able to access these different EOCs that we can't access is we can't really test the radio equipment. So, like Beaumont, because it's in their basically the city center, and the Sanji because it's in the hospital. So that's just the way things are. We have to deal with it. And hopefully, when things are good again, we can go inside. The radios will still work, but you never know. I mean, it's a great chance that something will get screwed up somewhere.
I think I asked this question last time, Dave. But what's the status with ours here at Sun Lake? We can't go in there?
No, we have people that have gone in there recently. Actually,
okay.
Mike, I think, and yeah.
Okay.
We do every once in a while. We have people in there, and we do test the radio equipment. So
okay,
it's not a problem. Last night, the alternate EOC was fully assisted because that's where the weekly net was run from.
Right. And that's good because at least we have a good location for an EOC if we have to have an impromptu one, and that is our banning alternate EOC, which is in kind of a fire station. It's not really a fire station; it's kind of a captain's headquarters.
It actually was, I think, it's still Battalion 3's headquarters, or it was.
Is that right? Okay.
Cal Fire.
I don't see any fire equipment out there ever.
There's BC's in there all the time.
Right,
Dave.
Yes.
The only bad thing about the EOC on Sun Lakes, unless they changed it, as far as I understand, there's only a couple of people that have keys to get in there, and the rest of us don't have keys.
Yeah, we're supposed to be able to get in if we ask security for entrance. They will be able to let us in. So if there is an actual emergency, we should be able to get entry that way. Whether or not they'll be available to help us, that's another question.
Yeah, they won't be.
There's not much we can do about that.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of in crazy mode. So what are you going to do?
Oh, that Craig's like...
Oh, we see Bill's here, so we can have...
Good.
We got Bill. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what's going on with the net control?
Well, I first and foremost want to thank KI6NME for giving me his reports, very, very detailed reports, who did what, how many check-ins, etc., and keeping me abreast of things. So thank you for that.
Yes,
Mr. LD3. No issues. We had apparently a smooth transition through the holiday, and then we had another. Just yesterday we had another net or series of nets, and they went well. And so the website is completely updated. We're good for another full year as of next Wednesday, and everything is shipshape there. So unless anyone has any questions, no news is good news.
Yeah. Do we have anybody that is interested in becoming a net control operator that isn't already?
DJ had his hand up.
Well, I was going to say I need someone to cover me for next week. I'll be out of town. So, and I want to make sure Bill knows so we can get it straightened out.
What do you got? 2 meters or HF?
Ooh, I forgot. I think it's HF.
Let me look.
Let's see. You'll probably get there faster than me.
Yeah. My computer's kind of slow. Maybe it's busy.
I got
doing
2
other
meters.
things.
I got 2
meters. Okay. Is that on? I just got my antenna working better. Oh yeah, look at that. DJ, 25th of November. And it's not on the repeater. I'll do it if you want, DJ.
Thank you.
No problem.
Please listen.
I will change the website.
Okay, thanks, Bill.
Now, sometimes if you guys talk to me, then I notify Bill that there's just been a change made, and he don't have to do anything. We'll take care of it.
I just got my J pole up in the air a little bit further, and it's straight now, so it's not crooked. So I think I might get pretty good performance out of it. So this will be a good test. All right. Let me go back to my. We are. So who did we miss? Is Pete here? Pete didn't show up tonight. Like I say, we didn't really have any VE testing last month anyway, or this last month.
Yeah, if you wanted to hit Mike BUW again for Aries.
Yes. Oh, he did kind of. He mentioned it once. Was there anything else, Mike, with Aries? Is he still there? He's gone.
No, Mike's gone.
Mike went away. Don't know why. Okay. Well, he mentioned something about Aries, so he did bring up some things.
That's a 500-point deduction.
Yeah, disappearing that quickly when you're treasurer, it's not allowed. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Randy's keeping track of that.
I'm teasing.
Oh yeah.
Randy keeps track of all the points.
Yeah.
They're virtual, so nobody has to write anything down.
Sam wants to talk.
Okay, Sam, go ahead, sir.
With the Aries, what we did was they did a Red Cross drill last Saturday, and it was a WinLink connection. So we got a WinLink up, but we're not too sure whether they got it. I was talking to Ed over in Hemet today. We got it up where it was sent, but we never showed where it actually was sent.
Okay.
So we got a little refining to do to that. Outside of that, he made one, I made one, and then we sent those on out.
So
I took over my radio and WinLink that I have. No,
You were using the ARDNet. You were
the
connecting.
SignalLink that works that I have. The one radio that I have works with that.
You weren't using the internet. You were using the ARDNet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we were putting out across that.
Right.
Before that, I think once I think I got to figure it out. So Mike and I, if we get on the same simplex frequency, we can go through that way.
You can do your own sending of messages back and forth.
Right.
So WinLink is kind of like text messaging for your computer, only it's more like email. But it's very, very direct in that when you send a message, it can go like a multitude of different ways. If you have an internet connection, it can go that way. If you have a radio connection to another operator or another link or another node, you can go that way. So you could use packet theoretically. You could use just a whole bunch of different ways of communicating to get your message to the server, which might be anywhere physically, but would be also connected to either the ARDNet or a radio or even the internet.
The other thing for the operator is there is abundance of different forms. There's
Right.
a Red Cross 213, there's the ICS 13 and all of that.
Right.
So that you can bring those up. And if the whole group is working on that, they can send those forms. All I have to do is fill them in and send them. They can just back and forth and receive them. Makes it a lot easier than having to type everything up, then do it and get it form right so that it comes out.
Right, you're typing, but you're typing right into the form directly. It's like
Yes.
it's because the forms essentially work in the WinLink program as an interface. So you just have all the fields to fill out. You hit send, and the message is sent. So it's pretty cool. We played with it a lot. I know that unfortunately I wasn't around for that because I did see the emails go around when you guys were doing that test. So that's very cool. Anything?
Dave?
Yes.
Within the WinLink platform, does the sender get a confirmation of receipt?
Very good question.
They can.
It does say when it's sent, but I don't believe it says when it's received.
You can set it up to where you do get a reply.
A reply receipt? Okay.
Right, yes.
Just like email actually has that capability, but nobody ever uses it.
DJ.
Yes.
Can you help Mike and I beyond outbox to get it to be sent?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think that's what me and Todd did that one day. Remember, it took us a while, and we were doing the same thing wrong, both sides, and then we both figured it out that we were trying to send it to the node, and we needed the computer's IP address, and that's where we were messing up. We actually needed the IP address of the computer, not the node.
Not the node name.
Yeah.
So there's no lookup mode, no lookup table.
That's because we're going peer to peer.
Yeah, and actually that would be the worst case scenario. Most cases you would be able to do it that way. But yeah, that's cool. Okay, it's versatile, and that's what's important. All right. Who did I miss last? Or did I miss anybody else? Any questions? I'm kind of looking at the screen at this point. Okay. Emergency comm. I don't know, there's nobody listed under that. Because I guess
Steve.
Steve got the. You inherited that one, didn't you?
Yeah,
I think it's because of racing.
Oh, it's probably okay. I'm sorry, Steve. You're in feedback mode again, or somebody is.
I think that's John.
I think you're right.
John seems to have 2 windows on my screen.
I muted John, and that seemed to fix it. Sorry, John, I muted you. Okay, so tell us about, is there anything going on with the emergency comm group there, Steve? Nothing? Steve?
I'm here.
Is there anything with emergency comm?
No, actually, I wouldn't be too upset if somebody else wanted to step up and take that.
Okay, there we go. And it's explained to people what the PASS Area Emergency Communications Group is.
PASSCOM?
PASSCOM, yeah, whatever they call that.
No, I don't.
Is that what this is about? Isn't that what this is about? No.
We show.
Sam knows more about PASSCOM than I do.
Let me just ask a question, because maybe I'm kind of new at this still. I have a listing on here that says emergency comm. Is that to do with PASSCOM, or is it just generic? Why do we have, it's like RACES, Aries, emergency comm? I thought that was PASSCOM. Maybe it is.
If I'm not mistaken, that is the remnant of Joe's
role. Okay.
Years ago.
Right. So Sam, you remember when?
What's the architecture and the purpose of it? In other words, what is it supposed to do? What is it?
It's kind of like our club's interface with the. That's what I thought it was with PASSCOM, but it's more about what Joe was doing was creating emergency operation. What do they call it? Emergency drill, or emergency preparedness information, like what we do in emergency, maps, and some other stuff. But I'm not sure, because I wasn't really. I don't know. I guess I just can't remember exactly what that was about beyond that.
Comment.
Yeah, go ahead, Sam. You're probably the best person to speak on this.
Joe, at that time, the club, the first thing they did is they developed a communication plan between all of the compounds, EOCs, and with the club for transmitting information in advance of emergency, as far as to what was happening, what buildings were damaged, etc., things like that. And then they went on and made maps for the 3 EOCs. And so they're sitting at all of the EOCs. There's one here for the alternate EOC, waiting for, because at one time they were going to use the room. Oh, by the way, the room where we used to meet at the alternate EOC.
Yeah.
They've taken it back over for Christmas stuff.
For their giveaway or whatever, their Christmas giveaway.
Whatever they do, are doing their thing. So they're back into there, but our radio room is still there. And,
so you mean the room in the corner of the room is still our room?
And it is locked.
And it is locked, but the rest of that, what we used to use as a meeting room and a classroom, is being overrun with packages and Christmas stuff. I remember that from last year or the year before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Whatever, I can't remember who the ex-mayor and her group is doing that for the kids and stuff. But that's it. As far as that's the only use, so we have access.
Yep, and the main thing with that EOC is the antennas that we have set up and everything, obviously, in our radio equipment and such.
Mike's got a question.
Mike, go ahead.
Okay, not so much a question as a comment.
Sure.
Part of the emergency plan that we developed, as far as from the club's perspective, was an allocation of frequencies, and those frequencies to be used among the communities. For example, Sun Lakes and Four Seasons and Solera. But also there is a division that was created to allow for effective communication going to the west of Highland Springs and another going to the east of Highland Springs. And also what frequencies would be used with the different served agencies. So that was something that came as a product out of our emergency communications plan. Hopefully everybody has a copy of it, but I think it may be on the website as well.
It is.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm sure that updates are probably necessary, but that's always going to be the case, unfortunately. We lose repeaters periodically. Things change. In the case of the 440 frequency, that was a complete. It was kind of a bunch of different things happened to us. One was we had a frequency, and it was working great for us. And somebody decided that they would make the output of the repeater that frequency, and so we couldn't use that frequency anymore. And so we picked a repeater, and then that repeater burned down in a fire. Basically, and it was looted, and so we were offered more different repeaters, but they were so local that we didn't really want to go that route. We just went back to simplex, and that's where we are now. But we're using a different frequency. It was just one that is specifically for simplex, so we shouldn't get chased off of that one. And are there any other questions about that? Oh yes, go ahead, Sam.
The radio at the alternate EOC has that frequency in it. So if you come to SPARC 4, you will see an alternate, which was the first one they came up with. Then there's the second alternate, and that's the one that we're using
now. Okay.
If you're on that particular 8800, the alternate EOC, it is programmed, but it's waiting to be changed when we get the correct one back up. The guy that owns the repeater, with all the fires and destructions and everything, he's just been super busy with his commercial business. He can't come and
gotcha.
Mess on with that. Did anybody have any questions as far as PASCOM is concerned?
Yeah, Steve's shaking his hand. Go ahead, Steve. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I have you muted because you were making noise. I'll fix you. I'm sorry, Steve. Hold on, Steve. I fixed it.
He's got to unmute.
I thought I pushed it. There you go. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, Sam. Not about PASCOM, but remember the last time for the earthquake drill, we were there and we were unable to lock that door.
I locked it. I got it locked.
Good. Okay.
It has been jammed or unjammed. What you got to do is you put it in and then you just pick it up and it'll slide right through.
Okay, got it.
Or if you can't handle a handle, you get you a big board and put underneath it.
You guys are talking about the alternate COC?
Yes.
Yeah,
sir.
the door.
The door into the room?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's almost always locked, right?
Yes.
Supposed to be.
It's supposed to be.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, any questions on PASCOM?
I think
Okay,
we are
good.
covered it. Okay, so I heard somebody on I don't know, actually the other day we were doing, actually it might have been yesterday, we were doing our Wednesday Night Net, and somebody mentioned, just spurted out the idea of doing the HF net on a different band. And I'm just curious if there's any interest within this group here in doing that, or if you guys are all really happy about 3975. What also was brought up was 3975 is used for races. We all know that. But I'm just throwing it out there. So hands.
What Well, excuse me.
Go ahead, Flip.
What would another band buy us that 75 doesn't buy right now? I mean, 75
Well,
is the
it's
closest
maybe
in band.
it's the hardest band to for most people to get their rigs up on because it's such a low frequency. You have it's harder to make the antenna work right. It's harder to get tuned up. For many people, 20 meters are already using it. It might be. I'm just being arguing with you.
Yeah. No,
Yeah. But it's just I've heard that from other people before, so that's why I thought I'd bring it up today. But if nobody's interested, go ahead, Ed. Go ahead. What do you got?
Okay, I'm just going to bring up some history.
Sure.
We have had it on 40 meters before. We get a lot of interference from
AMers.
Foreign stations.
Oh, foreign stations. Oh, yeah. And shortwave. Shortwave is big on.
Had it on 10
for
a little bit. 10 is nice in a way because you can use a short antenna.
Right.
Do it mobile.
Right.
Or, some people can't get on the lower frequencies mobile. And if it's going to be an emergency, you might not have your home station. So it's been done in the past, and we've kind of settled on
this
75, but I don't know if we're really stuck to it or not.
Is there a reason that that we decided on that, or was it? And let me ask you this: Do you know if Racy's is on 3975 because we're on 3975? Or is it the other way around?
No, it's the other way around.
Okay.
The other way around.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I was just wondering.
And Racy's also has a 40 meter frequency too.
Okay.
Give them the times on that, Ed.
The what?
The times?
The times.
Oh.
The 75 meter is used for
okay.
nighttime, and the daytime.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Well, that's true with the HF bands, and generally the lower ones are night bands, 40 and 80, and 20 is kind of a dawn and dusk band, and 10 is definitely a daytime band. It's just weird. It's just the way it is. So, let's see. Anything else? Any questions about anything?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, 75 is kind of tough. I agree with antennas and so forth. But 40 at night is very good for both local and also a little bit of DX. All right.
Right.
And 40
Thanks. I was just thinking what happened.
On the upper side of 40, from 7200 on up to 7300, there's tons of frequencies available.
Right.
And yes, you can go in between broadcast stations, but nobody's there.
Right.
Nobody's there. It's all down lower. So 40 would be very good at night.
There are an awful lot of frequencies.
Yeah,
that's true.
Wide open.
How many of them are general? Are there? Is there a lot of general allocation? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Earl. You had your hand up.
How about 6 meters?
6 meters. The question is that HF or is that VHF? Because that's a question that, it's a question that's like everybody asks. I don't know. I've never, I should say I don't own one because I do. My AC does do 6 meters, but I've never used it because I don't have a 6 meter antenna. Wow. How many people could be up on 6 meters? Raise your hand. Wow.
I could be up there. That's not.
I could make an antenna. Oh, I could buy an antenna for that matter.
Well, the real distance, Dave. The real distance is what's the radius of the people that we're trying to bring into that net.
It's generally it's local. I mean, other than Hemet, and Hemet for all practical purposes, it's not skip. You're somehow getting over the mountaintop, but it's just it's still not skip really. So 6 meters should work as well as anything else. But I don't know because to be honest, I have not spent a lot of time on the band. I did a contest one time where that's all they let me work with 6 meters. Go ahead, Earl. Question. Go ahead.
Yeah, the reason I'm saying 6 meters is I talk to shooters out of San Diego's, and I can also get Borrego Springs.
Oh wow.
On 6 meters.
Mm-hmm.
Really? So there are people actually talking on 6. Is that sideband?
I can do sideband on
Was
it.
it FM? Because I know there are allocations for all different modes.
Yeah, I usually use analog FM.
Okay. Yeah, they actually have a 6-meter repeater in Oak Glen. Yes, Mike. You're muted, by the way. Let me fix that. Okay, go ahead, Mike.
One of the things to think about as we consider other HF bands is, from a practical standpoint, where would RACES be located? And they do have, a 40-meter frequency, albeit during the daytime. For the evening, I have to say that it gets really dicey. Ron, KG6SOI, I could barely hear you. It was just, very poor. But, usually I could hear you better, but I had a terrible noise level.
Yeah, I know. I heard that.
Anyway.
I was going to say, we've tried this before on 40 meters, and we had trouble before. Don't you remember when we did a frequency test once?
Yes.
40,
Yeah.
I don't think 40 is going to be much different than 80 as far as poor local performance, because the lower bands are always going to be that way. I don't, it's just something about. Yeah, go ahead, Randy.
Well, I'm just thinking because the rag chews on 75 meters at night went to crap, and maybe we just kind of just let it ride for another month and see if the band comes back.
Yeah.
And then it'll fix itself.
Well, the band does go up and down. That's definitely true. And it's funny because 20 meters has been so active. I thought maybe 75 would be okay, but last night it was terrible. It was maybe the worst I've ever heard. Anyway, so it's just a thought, and it'd be kind of fun to just change it up once in a while. That's all I was thinking. But maybe we'll bring this up again later. So this is at the point where we have a break normally. Is there anybody that has anything they want to bring up or say right now? Go ahead, DJ. You're muted.
Yeah, last night Mike brought up the results of field day.
Oh yeah.
And I'm gonna look into it. I don't know how it's printed in the book. Is it the old style 3 where it has like all the information, or is it the single? I haven't seen it yet in the book, in the QST.
I left mine in the other room.
I've got it right here. Let me pull it up for you real quickly. Let's see here.
I'll be real close. I'll be right back.
The president is leaving.
Stand by, just stand by.
The president has left the room. Yeah.
He's left the bridge.
Yeah.
See, I have it pulled up on the internet, but they have 2 different versions. One where it's kind of like a scaled back version that looks like it went into print, and then an expanded version.
Sorry about that. I turned off my phone.
What they've got here, DJ, is you've got the club name, and then there's an aggregate score. Okay, so that would be the total score for the club. And then the last column, the far right column, says entries. And for example, with us, it says 2. So I don't know if those 2, what that really represents. Let's see here.
What page is that on?
That's on page 72.
Thank you.
It says entries here, of individual entries. So I'm wondering if what it represents is that, I don't know how many people participated. I know I did. I don't know if it was a club call that was used somewhere by somebody or what. So
we weren't remember, we were not supposed to be using club call, right?
The only place we could use the club call was at the park, and that was it.
Okay,
so I think that I know that I participated as an individual. I don't know, Jeff, if you did or not.
No, I was on CW.
Okay, I was too, and I think he was. So I'm just not sure what that number 2 represents.
Yeah, I don't either, because when I look at that list, it's either a 1, 2, or 5.
Maybe that has to do with the power or whatever.
Well,
that could be.
I see one here that says 21.
Right.
8. It's
Are we
crazy.
It is crazy.
The second number?
Is it explained at the beginning or something? Maybe
Well,
It's explained at the beginning, but it's not clear.
it's not very clear. Okay.
Number.
I'll get an email off because this is what I found last night when I was going through. There's 2 different sets. There's one that was printed, and then at the top of the one that looks like it was printed, it says go here because of so many entries were made. Go to the website and look at the website. So I went to the website to find out, and if I type in Dave's call sign and pull it up, it says San Gorgonio Pass Amateur Radio Club, his call sign, his number of contacts, but you're not there. Jeff's not there, and Pete's not there. So I want to know if they got added into our number that like they were at the park or they got missed. But I got verification that they received every one of those, and they were all done the same day.
Is the total the same?
Did you send in all of those contacts?
All of them, yes. All logs. I did all the logs because I wanted to do them all exactly the same.
Yes.
That way we didn't have this problem if there is a problem. So
That's crazy.
I don't know. I'll get an email off and see if we could get.
Yeah, find out what's going on. That's really strange. I only made like 14 contacts, so that's.
Yeah, that's funny because when I seen 14 contacts, I back in my head I'm going, I think he had about 14. I think Jeff had about 20. So so
I had 40. I had 40 some.
Yeah, so I
worked
knew
a lot
you guys,
harder, guys, than I did.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Anything else? Any other questions before we go to break?
Dave, you will have to give me permission to share my screen because I tried sharing it and it just.
I will happily do that. Your program's going to happen after the break, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So what do you think, guys? 10 minutes?
Sure.
So we'll be back. We're obviously everything's going to continue with Zoom, but the meeting itself will continue on in exactly 10 minutes or 2,000 hours. 2,000 hours. Local. All right. So here's the thing I printed. Can you see it?
Cool.
This is the top of that will fit on top of this thing. But this is the cool part. It's just these little tiny Chinese displays. And what I discovered was, well, what I did was I built this around the display. Plug it in there. So this is. If you can see there it is. So the display fits right on the front of the thing. So it's got little contacts and I got little wires that plug into it. And that's how it works. I think I've got another one around here somewhere. Oh. I saw it earlier. Anyway.
Bill's always prepared. He's always
Yeah, right. And we have those printed out for the club. Each one of us have our own break sign.
Hey Jeff,
Sure.
did you get my email this morning?
Yeah, I did. Thanks.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard
Bill's on
Brazil.
break. I'll just do this instead. Ignore me. All right.
Yeah, Ginger does that all the time. I don't need a sign for that.
That's right. Ditto.
So normal mode. Ignore me.
So Edie, how are you doing back there in the shadows?
Yeah. You guys are muted. It's probably my
is she
fault.
muted?
I'll fix it. I think. So it's kind of why it takes so long for me. Go ahead and you try it. I don't know why I can't unmute you. There we go.
There we go.
Well, I'm just hiding back here listening to all the exciting things going on.
Yeah.
She's not really hiding. She's hiding in plain sight.
Okay.
All right. Cool. I've got to run out real quick, and I'll be back. I want to mute myself.
Yeah,
Hey, Jeff.
Flip, I got on, I tried to get 30 meters on my Buckmaster. And then I realized that the Buckmaster can't handle 30 meters. So I couldn't get it either there.
Well,
So,
why won't the Buckmaster handle 30 meters if you are not using the amp and also just using the tuner to get the SWR low? It should still load up with the tuner.
yeah, I know it, but the Buckmaster, that's one of the bands that it just won't handle. And it just, I couldn't tune it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. At first I thought I was doing something wrong. Then I went back to 20 meters and tuned it up, no problem. Went back to 30 and couldn't tune it up. So, yeah.
I'll be darned.
Looked like it had been hit by a car, probably, and didn't have a roll over its rear legs.
Oh, Mike, Cartman?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that article. I got the magazine later today, the QST, but at lunch I got on the ARRL site and got the magazine up, and I read that article about the Pueblo.
Oh, yeah, I've got it here right in front of my desk. I was going to look at it. I got sidetracked.
Interesting article.
Yeah. Well, that's my reading for tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm back. Did everybody leave? Everybody want to take a potty break? Oh. I'm back. There's Sam's on the radio. You know what? It's warm in here. Oh, there. Let's see. Shoot. Anyway.
Hey, Dave.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to tell Jeff that this afternoon at 2:30, I talked to a guy I talk to quite regularly. His name is Giannis. Sugar 51 Delta X-ray over in Slovenia.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like talking in your backyard. He gave me a 5.9 with 5 over. Okay.
Slovenia. So you're going all the way around.
Well, I'm going up over the poles, just up over that way. And
wow.
I couldn't believe it. It was like you're talking to somebody in San Francisco. It's unreal.
That's cool.
When the band's open, it's a lot of fun, man.
I know it is. I got my radio tuned out to 20. See if I can get anybody tomorrow.
It's in the afternoon. Start at about 2 o'clock to about 4:30, 5 o'clock. And then after 5 or 4:35, Oceania opens up, and then you can see off to the west as the east closes down, moving west.
What band were you using, Flip?
20 meters. 20 meters. Yeah, and it really works well. I mean, you can hear the guys from the East Coast, at 2 o'clock and everything, and they're working into Europe. And then as the sun starts going down, this starts moving west, and it keeps going west, west, west. So finally, the guys in the Midwest and East close down, and that kind of opens up into Oceania as time goes on. So it kind of works kind of neat.
Hey, Flip, is it following the gray line?
A little bit, but it's kind of unpredictable, Mike. It's sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. You mean the gray line? Yeah. Yeah, it can follow the gray line. There's some times when it opens up the gray line, and you, instead of going down to Oceania and ZLs and VKs, it kind of goes up north, up into Alaska, and you're talking to somebody in Alaska like they're in your backyard, So yeah, I don't really play the gray line all that much, but in the morning on 20, it's been very good this last 3 or 4 days. It's, my gosh, they're popping in from everywhere in Europe and all over the place.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Remember that we had a program when I first came on, a friend of MSS, the program was Chasing the Sundown.
Yeah.
He was one that had the field right just back from Denny's on that street. It's not there anymore. He moved on.
Oh yeah, he was the one that had that beam up there on that telephone pole.
Right.
I remember that antenna farm because every time I drove by there, I was like, that guy's got a setup.
You've been
That guy on 5th Street, that is KE6M.
That's right. Yeah.
It's now Joshua Palmer or something, right?
Yeah, Joshua Palmer now.
Yeah.
But what's really cool, guys, is the guys in Europe that have the big 60-foot towers with stacked beams and everything else, when they start working the U.S., they're doing all the work, okay? So you could have 100 watts or 200 watts and blasting right at them, and they'll give you fantastic reports because their receivers are hot with those kinds of antennas. When you get the guys in Europe or wherever that's got the smaller antennas, it's more of a realistic report when they give you your 5.6 or a 5.7,
That's
that type
true.
of thing.
That's true. So you having any luck with Australia or New Zealand?
Oh, absolutely.
You have? Okay.
All the time, yeah.
All the time.
Yeah,
because I was doing it digital. I was able to make contact
a
few years ago.
Last night on 40 meters last night about 10:30, 11:15, ZL1 AIM, Ian, I talk to him all the time.
That's the meat you're getting off the phone?
And he comes blasting through every night about 10:30 or 11,
Okay, I just muted John. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yep.
I got the whole device.
Oh, cool.
And what I did is I actually have these little fiber optic cables going down the lights, and they light up when the thing's in the dark. You can really see it. It's cool.
Wow.
So this one has the you can't really this one has the display, but I decided I put it on the wrong side, so I redesigned it, and that's what this one is. This one's actually designed so the display is on this side.
That's the dual antennas sticking out?
That's the dual antennas. I decided cool. to use to do the V type thing.
Yeah.
Because that way there's more optimal rejection from the other one. Yeah.
And maybe a little diversity.
A little more. Yeah. Well, polarization doesn't really matter on high frequencies anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So. It's kind of just kind of cool. I bought a whole roll of this clear PLA, the transparent, that's what they call it, PLA, and it actually works with the fiber optic cable. So if you stick a fiber optic cable into it, it glows, obviously.
Hey, Dan, how in depth is the programming to get it to do what you want to do, so it prints out the exact dimensions and all that?
You know, I use something called Tinkercad, and it's called that for a very good reason. It's so simple. I mean, it blows my mind what you can do with it, because when I first saw it, I was like, okay, yeah, well, you can make squares and whatever, but you can make negative parts and then subtract them from other parts. And,
I see.
So
Interesting.
it gives you a lot of different options, and it actually has an incredible array of built-in stuff like lettering and whatnot.
Hey, Bill.
Pretty cool.
MOD. I want to compliment you on your mobile way of driving in. That looked fantastic.
Yeah, that worked well.
That worked very well.
What do you have a phone mount on your steering wheel or something, Bill?
No. I was holding the phone in my left hand and steering with my right hand. The only illumination I had was the overhead interior light.
Okay.
But thank you. I'm glad it worked.
Yeah,
it worked very well. I was impressed. It looked really good.
Yeah. First time I ever did Skype on a phone, it blew my mind. You could do that. I was like, I can't believe I could do this. It's like,
yeah, very cool.
That's why everybody, when the Apple came up with that, what do they call it? QuickTime, Showtime, so whatever they call it. That was kind of the beginning of the video conferencing, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hey, it's well past time, isn't it?
Yep.
I didn't even notice. Okay. DJ, are you ready to go? He's not back yet. Oh, there he is. Are you ready? You're sitting there. Okay. I'm gonna give you control.
So he's coming and do something else, Hans.
You're gonna have to mute Tina.
Well, I'm coming.
Okay, good. Okay, I think I did it. DJ, are you host yet?
Yeah, I'm host.
Okay, excellent. Take over, man. I'm going to make you large. Speaker view. Pin video. There we go.
Didn't start yet. I don't know what it is.
Here we go.
So I'm trying to make sure that I can see everybody.
I'm going to see if I can. Yeah, maybe I'll help you mute people if I can. I have to find room.
Whose mess is that?
Okay, tonight's is supposed to be kind of fun, and I know most people have mobile rigs in their cars, but it's supposed to be fun, and we'll just take a look at them and see what's going on. There's going to be a lot of comments and I tried to make this as fun as possible.
Yeah, I thought my car was dirty, but that thing looks filthy.
Yeah, for this presentation, I dug and dug. I cannot find a picture of this pontoon boat with a HF beam mounted on it, and it's I think one of the pontoons is half sank in the water. I know I posted it on Facebook a bunch of times, but I cannot find it. I wanted that picture so bad for this, but couldn't find it.
I think the guy on the right is just going to the ham radio swap meet.
Yeah. Well, with all that stuff right there, I don't know.
Yes, he's getting ready.
Operates right there.
That's hard to believe. All the weight is on the left side of the car. That's not good. You don't want that.
But the car must look like a porcupine.
I know, really.
Okay, I remember a few years back when the cell phone laws were coming in. There was a big question if we can still operate using our hand mics and things like that. And yes, we can. Jerry Brown went ahead and added a little supplemental AB 1222 here, and it took away one of the clauses that was in there because it specifically said in the original law that you weren't allowed to use any mobile radio, specific radio device unless it was on 800 megahertz or 9 megahertz, and that got struck out of the law.
Jeez.
So we're back in business as long as it's ham radio. And that was back in 2017.
Wow.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Recent.
Yeah.
I remember when we were talking about that, because they had a law in Arizona that if you had one button on your microphone, you're okay. But if you had more than one button on your microphone, it was a cell phone.
Yeah.
So all kinds of ham radio people were getting busted because they had microphones with keypads.
And then one question is, why do we operate mobile? Long drives. We live in Southern California. It's nice to have a radio, kind of kill the time, talk to other people on the way home. A lot of people don't have shacks at home. That's the only place they talk is while they're in the car. Another reason is a lot of people want real-time updates. And now, we don't broadcast it, but if you have a couple friends out there on the road ahead of you, you can definitely get the road conditions and traffic conditions. When I worked at Mark Christopher, I used to tune into Zod. That was Bill's repeater. And he would be getting off work about the same time I would. So I'd listen to him and Scott. Usually Scott was there with him. And I would know the road conditions just by listening to them and what traffic and which way they were going home. And so I planned my trip home according to what they were doing. And then another reason is emergency communications. You Red Flag Watch, Races, Aries. Most of these guys have their mobile rigs ready to go if they're deployed. Okay, what modes can you use when driving? Probably not JT65, PSK31. Those ones you need computers and might be a little bit distracting. But
using a straight key, that's the cat's meow.
Yeah. Most people do operate their mobile rigs are usually dual band VHF, UHF, and they operate on FM and mostly on the repeaters. But people do operate a sideband on HF and AM and even CW. And I got a few pictures. That's one of them.
Okay.
That guy's driving down the road doing CW.
At least that's at least that guy's got the proper type of key.
Yeah, and I see he has a piece of paper under there so he could write down call signs, I guess. Not quite sure. But I put his link there so people want to check out his installation, they can.
Oh, he's probably dead.
I think the paper is just to isolate his tablet from his keyer.
Oh, so it don't slide off?
So it doesn't slide off, yeah. I think that's,
when I worked at Mark Christopher, I had a Corvette come in. And he had HF in his Corvette, and how he got his ground was he added a U-Haul trailer hitch to his Corvette, one of the small ones, and he plugged his antenna in back there at the back. That gave him his good ground because his car's fiberglass.
Yeah.
You're not going to find a good ground on the body. So
there's a frame on that car, there isn't there?
Yeah, I've seen
frame.
that before. I've seen that before. It's very cool.
Yeah, and he had one of these radios, and he also had a for the. I know it's a little further in my presentation here. Glass mount for.
Antenna. Oh,
yeah,
that's awful. Big compromise.
All right, what do you need to get started here? Let's see. What works for some people won't work for other people. Spousal approval factor. No holes in the car or truck. My wife will not let me install a mobile unit in her car. It has to be. I have to be able to take it in and out, and that's the thing. Let's see here. I'm gonna stop sharing, and I'm gonna go back to my video. Let's see. I'm on. So this last weekend we went on a road trip. This right here was my mobile unit that I took. Bullfing with the magnet antenna that I threw up on the roof, and we went to Arizona. And I didn't talk to anybody. I listened, but I didn't talk. Just drove, and just listened to the different repeaters as I came into their signal path. So that worked out nice, But of course, you don't want holes in a car, and I just run that wire right through I run it through the door jamb. The weather sill's not going to hurt the coax any. It's real thin. So,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, I keep it simple at first, and then you could go crazy. Mag mounts. If you don't want holes, mag mounts work great. You could pass them through windows, and as long as you don't crush that coax, I think you'll be fine.
They make better ones than that too.
Oh yeah. I just took a few pictures. I grabbed a bunch of pictures, not my pictures. I only got one of mine in there, but yeah, copyright laws are going to get me. But yeah, mag mounts, no holes, and then you could route. Usually, you could find a place to route that at the end of the coax through a firewall or something, and get it brought up to your radio, and get it plugged in. Next option, here's the glass mount. Yeah, these work pretty good. This one right here has a little stub. I believe this is a tuning stub, and it goes on right there when you screw in this piece of the coax.
Wow.
So that's on the inside of the glass. So it's a little bit of a tuning.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, DJ.
Yes.
Okay, that antenna, how does it adhere to the glass?
Adhesive.
Okay, that it gets glued.
Yeah.
It's gonna get glued, and both sides, not just one side, but both sides. And there's a little bit of a caveat with this. If your back window has the defrost, you don't want to stick that to the defrost. That will get you.
That'll cause you problems.
A little bit of smoke there. Yeah.
Okay.
You'll end up.
Are you going to show? There was one that Charlene in our radio club she got.
Yeah.
Where it actually hooked over the window.
Right.
And it's it was pretty solid.
Right.
And it wasn't glued or anything.
That's actually pretty common. I mean, I used to have one of those myself. It's a window mount. They call them window mounts.
Usually you stick a little rubber duck on the end of that one, right?
Usually.
I don't have.
Yeah.
It's not. It won't hold anything very heavy. That's for sure.
Yeah. I don't have a picture of that one, but I do have some pictures of some other mounts.
Yeah.
So that's. I remember the one reason I brought this one up is because I remember the guy with the Corvette. I mean, you're not going to stick no mag mount on fiberglass. It's not going to work. And of course, he's not going to put a hole in his fiberglass. These are some more mounting options. This one right here goes on your hood or your trunk. But the key thing with this is you need to break the paint underneath of the lip of the trunk.
Actually, that's very close to the mount I have in my car.
Yeah.
It's almost exactly the same. In fact, it might be the same one. Is that made by Diamond? Is that Diamond? Yeah.
You know what? I think I pulled this picture from
Comet,
Alibaba or something.
Yeah.
like
Okay,
that.
it's the Chinese equivalent.
Yeah, this is the Chinese version.
It looks exactly like that. They copied it completely.
Yeah. Some places where I got these pictures, I couldn't click them and save them. So
yeah.
So this is one of the cheaper ones there. But you do have to break the paint. That is one of the key things there. You have to break the paint.
Yeah, you want to make sure that the ground is connected to the body everywhere you can. Yeah. Especially on the trunk lid, because that's where the antenna is closest to the it's the ground that's closest.
And then, now this right here is a very common. You'll see these usually if you see a lot of ham sticks. These would be more for HF, but you got to make sure you stick this little insulator in there that goes in between there, or else you'll short it out.
That's the way my portable HF radio or antenna works. All of Flip's portable HF antenna works that way too.
Yep, that's part of it.
Yeah. So don't forget the.
You need the spacer because that thing is not ground on the top. It's actually the antenna. That's the antenna.
Last year, my brother, he has a Jeep, and he was putting a CB radio in it, and he was doing it all in the desert. And I showed up, and he goes, "Man, my CB radio won't work." And I walked over there, and I said, "Hey, you're missing that little white washer." And he goes, "Oh, that white washer?" And he pulled it out of his pocket, but it was already too late. He smoked his
radio. Yeah,
he smoked his radio, and I pulled one out of my truck and said, "Here, you can have this one." That was floating around in the backseat of my truck.
Interesting enough, on just one input to that piece of that last scene or that last slide, DJ, is I have the same mount that I use on one of the antennas, and when it comes from the supplier, it has a metal ring that's supposed to let the top part, go down onto that piece of plastic. Well, if you leave it out in the rain,
It'll rust,
that little ring rusts, and when it rusts, it starts conducting right through the plastic,
Yep.
and all of a sudden your SWR goes to hell in a handbasket, and you're wondering why,
Yep.
Yeah, I had one of these on my diesel truck for a long time, and I finally took it off.
Yeah.
Now these are your
NMO.
Yes,
NMOs,
and that stands for new Motorola mounts. Yes. So of course, you guys know I was with a race team, and people ask me all the time about radios and why things ain't working. And one of the things is they put these wonderful mounts right through fiberglass. And I go, well, you're missing half your antenna. So we
gotta have this counterpoise.
Yeah, this guy did this one right. He put an extra sheet there.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
So I remember one time I had Gorilla spray. It's adhesive, and we were taking tin foil and trying adhesive to a race top of a race car, inside the inside, trying to get him some type of ground plane so he can have a nice radio for the race. But yeah, that's why that thing wouldn't tune. Let me see here.
Those mounts, by the way, are supposed to be one of the best antenna mounts you can use.
Yes,
it's really well designed, and they really you can put a little rubber cap on the top. You can, if you don't have the antenna installed, it's hardly noticeable. So, but yes, you have to drill a hole. So your warranty and your leasing company would be very unhappy with you.
Yes. One thing I suggest.
Yes, they would.
There's a tool called a Greenlee punch, and what you do is you take a small drill, and you drill a small hole first. Then you run the bolt for this punch through there. So now, if you take a big hole saw and you'll end up galling up the metal, and you'll end up bending the metal of the sheet metal of the car. So a Greenlee punch will work really nice, and you'll get a real nice clean edge cut through the roof. And you can find those at Harbor Freight. You'll just have to make sure that you do get the right size, metric or standard, depending on what size your ring is here.
Okay.
Now this is the HF stuff. These Tar Heels, these are very popular for doing HF. There's a control box inside the car, so you can move these up and down to change your frequency. Then these are the ham sticks. Now, the bad thing about these ham sticks is if you're driving down the road, you want to change bands, you need to get out and switch the antenna.
Yep.
But if you're really stuck on doing 20, you can just get one and just run 20 all the time. And so there are people.
About ham sticks is they're really inefficient antennas. I mean, it's like the minimum HF antenna you can put on your car.
That's true.
So if you can possibly avoid them, do so.
And then the Texas bug catcher is another popular HF antenna, but you will have to make a nice mount down here at the bottom, usually your hitch. Another thing is sometimes you even have to do a matching network down here, some type of matching network to get this thing resonant all the way through.
Yeah, in order to match the coax.
Yeah,
Let's see.
Okay, when you're setting up your radio, you always want to the best practice is to go all the way to your battery with your leads. You can get away with using a cigarette lighter if you're not running a bunch of power. It's not ideal, but people do that, especially if they're able to pull their radio from one car to another. You can definitely get away with that, but you don't want to use a bunch of power. Another thing is when you're running your coax, you want to make sure you cross any wiring that's in your vehicle at 90 degrees to keep your coax from coupling and getting noise into it, electrical noise. You're ticking and.
Oh, you mean other wires? Oh, you're talking about other
Yes.
wires on the vehicle.
Yes,
that makes total sense.
Yes.
How about connecting your radio to your ignition, or to a live, like your fuse box or something? Would that be a better option? I mean, it's like take off.
I would definitely go all the way to the battery. That
Yeah.
way it becomes part of the radio. Also, your battery does.
If you're gonna bother to do that, you might as well just do it right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it nowadays.
Well, the main thing about going to your battery is that involves then finding a way through the floorboard, firewall, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And that's where it gets difficult.
A lot of cars do have provisions for running wires through the firewalls.
True.
Some of the older cars don't.
Right.
I know some of the newer cars they do, especially because more and more people are running aftermarket audio equipment in their car, and they definitely need those battery leads all the way from the ramps all the way to the front of the car to the batteries. So, one thing is when you do set up you get your radio in your car or truck, you want to make sure you turn your car on. Make sure your fans turn on. You don't want to find out later down while you're driving down the road, your cooling fans kick on, and then you got a high buzz coming through your speakers. Electrical noise.
Right.
So this is a little diagram. There's the firewall of the car. The radio goes all the way to the power leads go all the way to the battery. And then you have your accessories, your tuners, and going to the antenna. Your control head. A lot of mobile radios have your control head where you can disconnect them, and you put them where you can see them and touch them and dial in what you need to dial in. This is a noise filter. I've done a few installs where not on mine, but a lot of these razors and side by sides, they're starting to get what race radios put in them and things like that. And when those fans kick on, you get all that noise right into your headphones and whatever you have on. But particularly in the race truck, I had one installed. Because our radio was so close to the CDI box that we'd pick up the ignition, especially at high revs, and having that in your ears the 2 hours, this is no fun.
Yeah.
So these things are pretty cheap. I think you can find them for about $13, and it kind of cures some of that.
It's got a fuse built in as well.
I didn't. You know what? I couldn't figure out that one right.
It says fuse box. That's what
it says fuse box, but
it doesn't. You don't know.
No, but the ones I usually use, which I couldn't grab a picture,
Oh,
is
I see. Okay.
Kenwoods.
Oh, okay.
The Kenwoods have a really good one.
Yeah, I would imagine using a name brand like Kenwood would be the best way to go. Absolutely.
But that's about what they look like. You just connect your leads to them, and to the battery you go.
Hey DJ, do the new cars have alternator filters on them?
It's kind of gotten better, but I have seen where some of the newer cars, let's see, I know Volts, they have a bigger issue with the Chevy Volts. When the cars are going downhill, what happens is the front drive axle becomes a generator and starts recharging the battery.
Yeah.
So I know that was an issue.
And another question, DJ, is on the fans, for example, are the newer fans brushless, or are they still using the old?
Okay,
type?
brushless seem to be the harder ones to cure.
Really?
Yeah, you would think that it'd be the opposite because you'd have constant arcing with the brushes, but it seems like that's the harder one to cure with some of these razors and things like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting.
All right. Hide it from the bandits. When you put a radio in, sometimes you don't want that nice radio hanging out where people can see them.
The underside of a seat.
So yeah,
in case they can't tell.
Yeah, the radio is mounted right here.
Yeah.
And right here is the speaker.
Wow.
And one thing what I noticed when I was looking at this picture is this is the airbag sensor leads. The yellow, and it's the standardized airbag leads, so people wouldn't connect into them, and they're always yellow through all automobile makers.
Automobiles.
Yes, and
so
GM is.
That's a sensor. Is that an inertia sensor or something?
No, I tell you what that is. That goes to the seatbelt, and what happens when you're in an accident? It's called a seatbelt pretensioner.
Right.
There's actually an explosion that happens right next to you, and it tightens your seatbelt for you.
Oh.
So it explodes and goes towards the floor, so it pulls you into your seat. So
that's interesting. Yeah, I read about that. That's cool.
Yes, I'm going, man, I hope that guy don't get RF into his
yeah, set it off.
airbag system and set off his airbag. Yeah.
That'd be a shock if your seatbelt all of a sudden goes, ah! Tightens
So
up on
definitely
you.
be careful of the yellow wires throughout your car, especially these modern cars that even have side airbag deployments too. Those things will destroy your car if they accidentally set off the side airbags.
That sounds like a smart thing for designed obsolescence of vehicles.
Now your head unit, you want to put it where you can see it, and but it also has to be out of the way, so nothing's going to be stacking. You're not going to stack stuff on top of it or anything like that. But see, this one's actually visible from the driver's seat. So, and I don't really know where this guy has his hand mic. Maybe his radio has the hand mic plugged into the
Some of them,
bottom
yeah, a lot. In fact, almost all of them, you can plug them in both, either in the base or the headset.
Yeah. So definitely want to get them where you can see them.
Yeah, that's cool.
This is actually my picture. This is one of the few that are actually mine.
Oh.
So this is my radio. I screwed my head unit right to the dash there. My Saturn, I really don't. What I do with it, I don't care. I just do it. And the wiring running to the head unit here actually goes through a hole that was meant for another accessory that would have been the rear defrost, but my model's a little bit different, so I have some switches here. So they put a little plastic plug there to cover up the hole, and I took the plug out and I was able to run my wiring right through.
Cool.
And my radio is underneath my driver's seat, so the wiring goes down and on the inside of the plastic here and out into the bottom. That right there is my external speaker, so I could hear, because my radio, the actual radio is underneath the seat with its speaker, so that won't work. So I have to have a speaker that's close and I could hear. And this is a loudspeaker. And one thing I noticed when I was looking at this picture is I had the squelch all the way up. So I must have took this picture when the Anaheim repeater would bleed over into our repeater.
Right.
And then of course I have it on low power because I'm here in Banning, so I only need 5 watts when I'm talking here on the Mount Etna.
Hooray for DJ who's following the rules.
Yeah, and
only use the amount of power you need.
Yeah, I want to point this out here. My hand mic is mounted to the car. That way, you're not a lid for putting your hand mic down on the ground, and as you're driving, you're push the talk button for 5-10 minutes as you drive down the road without even realizing it, jamming up the repeater.
Having a place for your microphone is at least 50% of the problem, because most people will put it on their seat or something and then forget about it, and it ends up being a transmission problem. Yeah,
and what's funny is when I hear that happen, and all the people coming on the repeater saying, someone's got a mic, someone needs to check the mic. Well, the guy's never going to hear him because they're transmitting.
That's true.
So,
that's true. I think the same thing.
Oh,
okay, there you go. Look at that car, my God! What is that? An old Mercury or something.
Mercury Zephyr, I believe.
Yeah, look at that thing.
But this one right here, I go, this guy's going to test out he's going to say, it says it has a wind load of 60 miles an hour. I'm going to test it.
That car might fly away accidentally with that thing on there. If it catches a sheet or something from somebody who's, bringing their laundry and it comes loose, then all of a sudden you're going to be airborne.
I wonder what that guy does when he has to take it in for a smart check.
You can operate from boats too, so there is a potential for another mobile setup there. And this was where I was going to stick that other boat that was half sunk and with the big old HF antenna on the roof, or the pontoon boat.
That's funny. I recognize that radio.
That's pretty good with boats. You don't need much of a ground plane. It's built in, with the water around you.
That's right. You got a great ground plane, that's for sure.
Fantastic, yeah.
So I thought.
That's why HF works so well on boats.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, I wanted to show you guys another mobile setup that I have. Now this has been out in the desert. this is one of the radios I'd pass around to the guys on the race team, and I'd say, okay, I'm going to give you a whole radio with the speaker. And that speaker is, you have to have the speaker because you got to hear over the over top of the over top of the engines running. So one thing is with the, I don't have the power leads. I did not put any connectors. I stripped the wires and pulled it back and put some alligator clips. That way, whoever I handed it to, all they had to do was open up their truck and put the 2 alligator clips right onto the battery, and they didn't have to run it all the way through their car or cigarette lighter, because I know this thing, it's a 75 watt radio, so I knew their cigarette lighter wasn't going to pull it. So, and I wanted to, one more thing is when you do your antennas, you definitely want to check your SWR. A good meter will come in handy.
Yes.
So, yeah, don't just set it and forget it, but actually do the tuning process as well of the antenna.
Yes, I love analyzers. They really spoil you once you get one.
Yes. By the way, that one's mine. I do have the club one, so if anybody needs to borrow it, just let me know. I'll be happy to lend it out because it is the club's, and I'll just have you make sure that you know you have it, and we'll get it back in a couple days. Okay.
That's part of the director's large job.
Yes. I have a box here. I told my wife, I go, if anything happens, this is the box you give back to the club. I probably need to pull it out and charge the batteries of the intercom system that we have. But that's it. Does anybody have any questions?
Cool. I've got a comment.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see this thing in the view. It's an audio cable with a phone plug at each end, 8-inch phone plug. And what I have done in my Honda, the CRV, it has an input, an auxiliary input on the console, and I hook that stick one end of this into that, the other end goes into the radio, and I can hear it. I don't have to worry about an external mic or external speaker, which I do have, but I can turn it up loud enough that I can hear it. I can fade it over to me or change the balance so that Janet doesn't have to listen to it, or anybody in the back seat doesn't have to listen to it. And it works very well. They cost $1 at Dollar Tree. And I got this one, the garish colors, because I can see it.
So it's got stereo plug, but your radio is mono, isn't it?
That's correct. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't work. It still works anyway.
It's
interesting because it really depends on the kind of plug that's on the radio, because some of them are kind of stereo compatible, and they will end up giving a signal to both channels, because it's not normally the case. Not always does that work.
Well, this is an old rig. This is a 741.
Yeah, you've got the same rig I have. Actually,
so
mine's slightly newer than yours.
It's got 3 out. It has 3 outputs.
Right, one for each band.
And then it has a common.
Right, in the back there's
the
common. Yeah, and that's neat
to
have.
They did that today.
Yeah, it's neat having one for each band. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But then also the Chinese radios unfortunately use 4 connector plugs instead of stereo or mono, because they have the microphone, the push to talk, and the speaker all in the same plug. So they're for like the Chinese handhelds and stuff. It's the same as Yaesu, the single plug, but it's got 4 connections on it, same size. Those you can buy the plug, and you can wire them up, so you can just get speaker out. The problem is when you plug them in, it's going to want to use that for microphone as well. So then you have to change your microphone input. So that might work or might not work depending upon the Chinese radio you have. Because I've been trying to figure out how to tap audio out of a typical Chinese radio that has that type of a speaker mic connection, essentially. So anyway.
Dave, the TYTs you can open up, but it's only going to, I think they're single banner. You could open up and add a external on the backside. Oh, you could pull with the audio out the backside.
Okay.
Yeah, and
so it's got a separate connection. Yeah.
What's funny is the TYTs even had, like, it's indented where all you got to do is break out that connection.
Okay.
The-
So it will work
just-
that way.
I was just kind of wondering, DJ, you see these guys with the 75 meter and 40 meter verticals on the back of their cars, with the big loading coils and everything. I just wonder how efficient the antenna can be if you can't get a good counterpoise to actually work with the antenna, It's like, are you trying to defeat the purpose of having efficiency in the antenna? I think mobile works great for 6'2", 440, and all that stuff because of the car's physical size makes a halfway decent counterpoise or a radial, if you will. But when you get to HF, especially 75 and 40, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how you can get an antenna that's really going to radiate well, Go ahead, Sam.
To address.
Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
Sam, what you got?
I got a high Q and on my motorhome, and the frame is the direction.
Right.
Oh, you're right.
So the last time I was out, when I was talking to you guys, when I was over at Yuma, I was facing west, so it was fair. But when I got down to there at Plaster City, then I aimed it right up to Beaumont and made a whole lot of difference in what I came in on.
Well, a motorhome's got a lot of metal, it's got a lot of area to act like a ground plane and so forth.
Just about, mine's most. It's got some. It's just actually it's the frame.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, because most of it's not metal.
Yeah,
they're fiberglass or whatever.
I don't understand why they don't do a kind of a base-loaded counterpoise, meaning you can extend the length of it just by putting loading onto a couple of counterpoises. Even in a V, would be a much more efficient way to go. But anyway, that's just interesting stuff.
And then I had given me some radials to attach to right where they hook up, and you bring them out on yourself.
Yeah, cool.
No, and that's actually true for cars too. In the case of you have an antenna directly on top of your car, it's going to be directional because your car becomes the directionality because of the longer, counterpoise in one direction.
Yeah, front to back.
Front to back.
Is UIJ still here?
I was getting ready to ask him about his antenna because I knew he had one of the electric ones that he pushes the button and it pulls down so we can go through the garage. And about the time I was going, hey, Mike, he disappeared.
Well, we were at a scout thing out at Glen Helen one time, and on that car, he had a trailer, he had a small hitch on it, and he put that in, and then we had a telescopic he put out.
Right.
And this counterpoise was he reached around and hit the exhaust pipe.
And
put it on.
His antenna actually has one of those devices that tunes. It's the actual antenna doesn't go up and down.
Yeah.
It's got like a tuning coil on the bottom.
A Tar Heel.
Tar Heel, exactly.
Yeah.
Now the ones that I know what you're talking. But the one in I think it's Banning that has a police vehicle that's got a HF radio and a 2 meter radio. What am I talking about, Sam? What do they call that thing? The police, the Banning police.
You're talking
Mobile command posts?
Yeah, they're command posts. They're mobile command posts. It's and it has the antenna that's designed for the radio, and it's A57B, and we've never made it work right, but it will go up and down on its own when you tune. When you tune it, it gets longer and shorter. Yeah. And it actually works on the 2 meter band as well, I believe.
That reminds me.
The so-called ATAS, ATAS antenna.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting antenna.
Short story, interesting. A friend of mine, his wife, he wanted to get her a rocking chair, and he had a 450 or 460 Mercedes, and he didn't have any way to get it home, so he put it on the roof. Okay. He strapped it down on the roof over a blanket, and you know what's going to happen. He pulled into his driveway. He was so happy that he got it. He opened the door and drove right in, and he had kindling by the time he stopped. Oh, it's just maddening. Who do you blame but yourself? Yeah.
It's a lot better than having like $5,000 bicycles on top of your car and doing that.
Yeah, that's another one.
That'd be bad. All right. DJ, are you done?
Yeah, it went a lot faster than I thought.
That's cool.
That's very good. Very good.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it was good.
I did want to talk about the Christmas party a little bit.
Yeah.
Last night you did mention the trivia net, and
Yeah.
I was thinking that would actually be a really good thing. I would probably lean the trivia not to be about radio and to more be about everything. So
Right.
so if there were spouses that wanted to be involved, they could be involved.
I agree with that. I think that's a good idea. I was thinking we might incorporate something else, like instead of doing the gift exchange, we might do something like I don't know, do some kind of a personal exchange, like maybe something that people are comfortable with, like show us a picture of your family or show us something, maybe a picture of you when you were younger, something like that, just to share. And we could do that, generally we could do that with Skype, with Zoom. So
Yeah.
I was thinking that might be something else we can incorporate into the event. But if you have any ideas, don't be afraid to share it with us. Just send an email to Jeff, and we'll make sure that the board sees it. And we can, if we have other good ideas, we're willing to entertain those.
Second thing is Leanne. I don't know if she got her electronic kits figured out. I didn't quite under.
I didn't actually copy you, but I did send her an email with some information on a company that's local that actually makes kits that are really quality for that purpose, for learning kits.
Okay.
And then also sent her a link to a website where they talk about breadboarding radios, which is a very difficult thing to do. But I think that's kind of more specifically what she was looking for. But in any case, I can only do what I can do. I remembered that Jamico, I think it's called. I remember that from way back, and it's a great company, and they're still around. So it's actually quite reasonable, the kits. I think they're all from China, of course, but they're quite reasonably priced.
Isn't Raspberry Pi part of that stuff, Dave?
Raspberry Pi could be part of it, although that's more on the computer end. I mean, you can use it. There are certainly lots of radio applications for Raspberry Pi, but I think what she was looking for something simple that they can make themselves.
Oh, okay.
That's the idea, and I was thinking there's so many kits for FM radios where it just uses a tuner IC and a op amp or something for an amplifier. Yeah. It's really not difficult at all to make. In fact, I think they even do make some that are solderless. I don't know how well they work for very long, but they just kind of snap together. It's like modular.
Yeah.
But I think what she wants is to get the kids interested in building things the right way. That's my guess.
Yeah.
So soldering irons are cheap.
Yeah.
That's how I got started. I was probably 10 when I got my first soldering iron.
But you still have it today, don't you?
No, I don't think so. Probably not.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, thanks, DJ. Appreciate that program. It's very good.
Good info.
Yeah. So, let's see. Whoops. If I could just get everything back to normal. I guess it doesn't really matter. I guess I'm in control now. Kind of looks like it. All right, guys. Anything else anyone wants to bring up before we... I don't know, I hate to shut this down early. We've got another 15 minutes. Any ideas for Christmas? Well, should we limit our Zoom meeting to 10 people so that we are safe, COVID safe? I'm teasing. Okay, well, we have a pretty good crowd here, Jeff. 12?
Yeah.
No. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We were up to 16 at one time.
Yeah, at one point we had 16, so put that on the minutes.
Actually, I had 17.
Okay, good.
I got the picture to prove it.
You got the picture of 17 people? Cool. You got a snapshot. Excellent. All right. Anybody else with questions or comments? All right. I guess we'll go ahead and call it quits. I could stay on for another 15 minutes if you guys just want to talk.
Well, is there a time deal on it, Dave?
No, there isn't. There's no time deal.
Steve,
we just kind of run out of program.
It's all right. It's cool.
That's cool. I could talk about antennas all day, though. I love antennas.
Yeah, that's becoming a passion, I admit. I really enjoy it.
I always have. That's one of my favorite things. When I was first got into it, I was making my own 2-meter antennas. And I had this guy that was just so smart, and he had an antenna analyzer.
Are you getting tired, John?
An Elmer. I had my own Elmer. Anyway, cool. So John's muted. I'm sorry, John. I may have muted you because you made noise. Here, I'm unmuting you now. Oh, still muted. Oh, there we go. Go ahead, John.
We were speaking early about problems getting on 75 meters with antenna problems. If anyone doesn't have the room to put up a big antenna like that, I'll help them hook up their rain gutter. It works fine locally.
Yeah.
It's assuming your rain gutter is made of metal, because modern ones aren't. Modern ones are no longer made out of metal.
Fiberglass won't do it.
They're vinyl, or whatever. Yeah.
Mine runs the full length of my house, one piece, all metal, 60 feet.
Wow.
Did good, did well.
It's PVC, lay a wire in it.
Yeah, right.
That wouldn't hurt, actually, because that probably has poor connectivity between the different pieces of metal. So having a wire in there might be better. Worth a try, huh? It's not expensive. Okay. All right. Well, let me find my script. I don't really have one. Let's finish this thing out. We have no other miscellaneous news. I'm going to go ahead and call an adjournment to this meeting. So I appreciate everybody's attendance. And the time now is, wow. Okay, 8:49. Or 20:49, to be more correct.
There was one, just one comment.
Sure, go ahead. We can go on after the meeting is over. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. What's your comment?
Well, no, I was just screwing around the other day, and I figured, I wonder how good an inverted V would really work on 17 meters. Okay, and I went, what the heck could I make it out of? So I had some wire in the garage, and then I put an insulator in between them, and I did the 468 over frequency in megahertz, and did all that. And then I had this photography pole that must go up like 10 or 12 feet, So I figured I'll put it on the back patio, okay, and I'll just take the wires down at a 45 degree and take my other coax from my other antenna and plug it in and see how it works. On 17, I worked Japan with a 5.8 signal. And I'm going, damn, that was efficient, And just simple stuff. On 17, the lengths are very short.
I made my own dipole on 17 with just using a chassis connector and wire, and I just measured it out, quarter wavelength on each end.
Yeah,
and strung it across my patio cover, which is made out of wood.
Yeah,
and that worked as a perfect antenna. It was great.
It worked well. The SWR was 1-to-1. You cut it half an inch at a time, and it worked fantastic. And it was a good, solid inverted V.
People, I'd say it's essentially a dipole. People talk down dipoles, but they're actually a pretty darn good antenna when you got them up off the ground a little bit.
It's one of the reference standards.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
It's when you have a tuned antenna like that, you can do amazing things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the other thing that John mentioned is loop, and I have to say, there's one thing about a loop that you don't get with a dipole, and that is it has much tighter receive tuning. If you actually have a tuned loop, you'll be able to hear things on your band, but other bands will be rejected quite strongly.
Yeah.
And
it all boils down to resonance, okay? And
exactly.
It depends on the size of the loop, okay?
Right.
When MFJ did their 36-inch loop in diameter, it's very fantastic if you tune it to the exact resonance, but it's so thin, it's below, you got 10 kc either side, maybe.
Right. Whenever you make it a coil, you end up with a really, really high Q. It ends up in creating a antenna that it's tuned to one frequency and a very, very poor bandwidth.
Well, another thing I didn't realize about the loop, like a 36-inch loop that's tunable with the remote and all that, the voltage at the loop is very high, even with 100 watts. It's like 4,000 volts.
Ooh, my God. The actual what they call the antenna is a current a current fed
Yeah,
antenna
it's a current device.
because because it's a loop. It is a short.
Yeah.
So your radio is basically transmitting into a short.
But you know, that's why they're all limited on the small loops. I don't know about the big ones, but the small loops are all limited to like 100 watts because it's lethal at 5,000 with some current.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's part of why they're so efficient. Is because when you have that the current fed, they become more efficient.
Yeah.
So works good for transmit as well.
Yep.
Okay, well, I already pretty much ended the meeting, but I just say if you guys want to talk a little bit more, I'll be willing to hang around. It's up to you guys.
I think I'm going to punch out, guys.
Okay, let's go ahead and call it quits then.
Yep.
All right.
Peter's Day.
7-3, everyone. Until Wednesday when we have our net.
Yep.
We will be back in business then.
Hey, the link that I've got down at the bottom of the minutes, is that still good?
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Jeff?
The link that I've got.
No, I'll tell you what, I'll send you a new link. Or I'll send you the link. It's not a problem.
Okay.
No problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, listen for me out on 75 next Wednesday. I'm gonna set up the out at the trailer. I'll set up. The
If you
HF.
guys want to look at the SPARC YouTube, you just type in SPARC or San Gorgonio Pass Amateur Radio Club or SPARC Radio Club, and it'll come up on search. But it's called SPARC, and I've got all of the meetings and all of the nets on there, so you can see them. If you're curious what your radio sounds like, you can listen to the net and hear yourself. Anyway.
Where are you going to be, DJ?
Ocotillo Wells, if it's open. I have a feeling they're going to shut it down, and I'll end up in Johnson Valley.
Okay. Yeah, I was just talking. They was thinking they were trying to con me into going to Superstition, and I said, "Yeah, I think I'll stay home."
Yeah, Ocotillo Wells is 80 miles. Where I go, the truck haven, 80 miles. So I like that drive. It's not that bad.
Okay, it's hard to find the right thing to turn off here. Hold on a second. Oh, here we are. OBS. I'm going to go ahead and close out the YouTube anyway. Goodbye, YouTube.